Hello everyone, welcome back to my 5Q series. Let's just jump right into a game, see if we can get a game. Or if you like this stuff, make sure to leave some comments. Let me know what you like about it. Oh, looks like we got white. I'm going to play my normal opening, which is opposing 3-4. Unless we're going to get a cross opening. In this case, let's do this for fun. It makes the board look more interesting. I think it's good to just keep things simple. Everyone has a 3-4 point, so I'm going to kick and just take territory. Often with a cross opening, it's good to keep the board separated into small territories. With Comey as white, it makes the game a little bit easier. I could enclose or I could approach. It doesn't really matter. But I think just up to your personal preference. If I approach high, that would be better for disrupting this side. But approaching low is better for territory. So I think I'll just approach low and see how it goes. Pincer. Okay. So this is going to be like a fighting variation if I want it to be, huh? So I probably shouldn't do something like this because he's the one with the strength around everywhere. And there's nowhere for me to go, really. Because of that, maybe we can do a double approach here. The idea here is that I'm putting a little bit of pressure on the base of the top side group and letting him just do something here. He can take the corner with one more move, but if I get to play there, I can still live in the corner, which is why I think this is okay. So I could take a base here, or I could try to fight right away. But I think often it's good to play simple and just make a base. Let's do that. If he just takes this, then I'll slide here to disrupt his base, I think. Okay, so I do what I thought he might do. With this, there is still this Hane here. And if he cuts this, then I can Atari. I get a little bit of strength on the outside. If I Hane, though, he could also extend, which would hurt my top group here. But I'm just going to... I can either slide or I can do something like this invasion right away. I want to do something on the top right now because this group is not safe right now. So I think it's a good idea to invest right away. I could jump out, and I could see how he wants this to go. I think I will actually Hane here. Because I said, my group is not necessarily safe yet. So if he extends here, then I know I should probably just slide. But if he's able to give me this Atari, then that gives me a lot more flexibility with my group on the top. I probably won't Tanuki that. Okay. So now this group is a little bit more flexible in how it can run away and do things. Then instead of just sliding to keep the game simple, I can do the invasion instead. After the invasion, I'm probably going to be able to connect up and he's going to get some sort of influence. So like the normal move to do this sort of thing, you could just extend. If he blocks, you can push an Atari and connect up on the other side, or push out. Or you can do this G18 move, which allows you to connect up on either side. I'm going to do the normal move here, which is just the extension. It's a move that's easy to understand. After this, Black will have influence, and I will have the territory here. This move is kind of interesting. Normally, when you have this sort of shape, you almost always want to wedge because it then creates cutting points. I could Hane here, but then if he wedges, then I get the cutting points instead. So you just have to decide which thing is worse. I think I'm just going to wedge, giving him the cutting points. And if he just extends, then I extend. He still has both of these cuts that he has to worry about. I'll just keep my stones connected. He should probably have just defended himself. But I don't have to worry about the push and cut here, because if he pushes and cuts on this side, I can connect over here at 018. And that means that he can't really cut anything off. So I can just push up here using these stones that I already have on the board, which is really nice. And I should be alive. There's plenty of space on the top here. Ah, okay. So he decides to try to build some influence over here to use this, which is not a bad idea. I don't really want him blocking here. So if I push this side, it just gives him the influence. If I push along here at C13, right, it just gives him the influence. If I push here at D14, depending on what he does, I can disrupt the influence a little bit. And if I still want to take the left side, I can do a knight's move. So I think I'm going to push up once and see what he wants to do. So he's just going to try to connect everything. So I will cut here because my group is safe on this side. My group is safe on the top, and he's the one with the weakness in the center. Just extend, of course. So he's sacrificing his one stone in order to gain profit in the middle, which seems okay. But I'm going to be getting a lot on the left side, so I'm fine with just extending. And I want to keep extending because I don't want to get the Hane at the head of 3 stones. And even when he pushes here, that would still technically be like a Hane at the head of 3 stones situation. But in this case, turning in the center is really good for me. So that's what I'm going to be doing. The point wasn't to get the influence or get the strength over here to make a bunch of points. The point was to mess with his influence in the center. So he can get this stone out if he wants to, but I'm going to keep coming out towards the center because this is where his weak group is. I have the backup case, which is capturing this stone. But right now, I'm focusing on his center here. So I definitely want to probably keep trying to play in the top left if I can. But I do not want to let him get the follow-up move in the bottom right. Whoever initiates the Joseki in an area is usually the one who's going to get the local advantage. So I think I'm fine with just attaching here. Just the regular Joseki. He's going to be taking this point more than likely, and I'm getting influence in the center, which means I should be able to invade on the bottom here. And his corner is very wide and open here. So I'm going to do this clamp to see what he wants, I think. Threatening to cut on either side. And we'll just see how he responds. So a common combination here is to then jump, which is threatening the cutting point and with good shape. We can just Atari and connect up our stones. I said we always have the escape hatch of capturing this one stone at D13. So we don't really have to worry too much about our center group. Because if he takes one move to protect that stone, which isn't threatening the corner at all, then we can play another move in the center. Protecting there. I kind of want to make my opponent's shape a little heavy. And being able to capture this stone would be really good for me because it would connect all my groups. So I think they're probably going to respond to this Atari. If they capture this stone, it's not too big of a deal. So the only thing we'd want to do here maybe is
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's protect this shape and force him to try to live. Just haunting the outside. I just want some strength in the center now. So this stone from earlier at S15 is actually still useful because I can push here and double Hane. So I think I want to push once here and then push here to threaten this side. So he's going to try to live directly. This helps my shape a little bit, so I'm fine with connecting. Just connect, keep everything solid.
Yoyomi now starts.
He can push here, and I would connect, and he can capture here, which would let me capture this stone. So I'm fine with that as well.
Nine, 8.
Or at least I could just connect, depending on what the shape looks like. All right, connect. So here he does have this push, and then Atari, and capture this stone, which would be really bad for me. So there's two ways for me to try to handle that. So it depends on if I can do something here with this Atari. And then net. He pushes and cuts here. I can
9,
connect,
8,
and there's nothing on this side.
7, 6, 5, 4,
So I think I'm
3.
fine with trying to just capture this stone. Okay. I believe there shouldn't be anything here. There might be some Aji in general, but there shouldn't be anything too big to worry about. All right, let's double check the reading. If he cuts here, I have to capture, and then he cuts here, and he goes down. I Hane. He can try to do some sort of ko thing in the corner, but I think I'm fine with that.
8.
So I'll just capture these stones. Not sure what he's trying to do here. The cut stuff still works for him,
9.
so it's not too big of a deal probably. So this is interesting. This side's completely connected up. So when I Atari here, I can protect on this side instead of protecting on this side, which makes my central group very strong. Hmm. He's basically already alive there, so that part didn't really matter. So I'm alive on the top, I'm alive on the left side, and we have some
9,
territory.
8, 7, 6, 5.
So we probably want
4,
to come
3.
down to the bottom here and try to disrupt this area now. Hmm. So if I just extend up and he defends his corner, then I have to attack this severely. So maybe I should try to see how he responds in the corner first.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
It might have been
4,
too early to play
3,
on this side.
2, 1.
But if he just jumps here, then I have to jump, then he can
Left.
protect as well. So maybe it was maybe this invasion could have been a bad one. But I do still have stuff to do on this side.
Nine, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Yeah, so let's go to this side now and see if there's a way we can put those stones together in some. I realized my mistake. So let's try to fix it. Okay. Probably if I hone on this side, he cuts, I Atari, and he goes over the top. I'm happy with that. If he extends, I connect, and then I'm attacking this stone. But I think I would prefer to
9,
get the corner.
8,
So let's try
7.
this side. Atari. Now I can connect here. I was threatening to capture these two stones. If I Hane here, and he cuts, and I go down, is there a ladder? Not really. So I can probably Hane. After going down here, he has to protect his group on this side, then I can Hane on this side.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4,
But I think the
3,
simpler move is probably this one.
1.
But we'll try the Hane, because I read it out. So I need to extend it out here into the corner to make this Hane work and to make this one work. Because there's no ladders here, because I have my stones over here.
8,
If he does this peep,
7.
Oh, is this ladder work? Uh-oh. Oh, that ladder works. Uh-oh. I made a mistake. So let's extend up here. And just jump up to save my stones. So let's see. We should try to see the point here.
Nine, 8, 7, 6.
So let's just take some points on this side. My opponent has 2 corners, and this group here, and I also have 2 corners. And something in the center. So the game should be fairly even.
9, 8, 7, 6.
So he wants more strength on the outside, which makes me want to take the outside first. And just connect solidly, which makes these stones dead. I should take the shape point here. Prevent him from doing the wedge. If he turns, I do this. He cuts me, I Atari. So it's a little bit bad. So I want to try to take this move to strengthen my side. This is a bad move for him. It just strengthened my group and weakened his. So that was a bad idea. I'm connecting to strengthen my group.
9,
You could try to do something else, but we don't want to prevent the
7,
Atari,
6.
so the connection is better. That move doesn't actually do anything. If he does this one, I just connect. If he does the thing here, this is just end game.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
So I want to come in over here to threaten to attack him. So my groups should all be connected here. And he has a little bit of Aji on this side. This is the shape point here, the bamboo point. Whenever you can play on one of these 2 points, it's usually a shape point, which can usually take
9,
advantage of
8,
your opponent's weakness there. Oh, interesting. So I can Atari here and then double Atari and capture this stone. Unless he wants me to capture these 2 stones. So I got to capture this one, which was really nice. And he needs to make sure to capture this one next, or I get a lot of points in the center. But no matter how he captures it, maybe he can just extend up. That'd be the best way to do it. Yeah. So now we need to worry about end game stuff.
9,
So there's a couple
8,
points here in the
7,
center,
6, 5,
but I think
4, 3,
we probably want to put on the
2.
side first here. That doesn't do anything. I can just connect like I mentioned earlier. He doesn't have enough liberties, and these 2 stones are an Atari. If he gets the Hane, he can potentially live, so I will Hane here. All he's really doing here is getting rid of his end game, because he had the monkey jump, but now he doesn't, and he's giving me points, which is no good. Now, I can understand if you were afraid of this sort of thing, but you can't be afraid of it with these 2 stones in Atari.
9, 8, 7.
And I think you need 8 in a row or 7 in a row in order to live. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if he can get this move here, he can probably live. So that means I can block on this side and then capture these 2 stones. Or if he, I guess let's read it, right? If I just capture these 2 stones, he pushes
9,
here, I block,
8,
then he
7,
connects,
6,
then I can
5,
Hane and
4,
throw in and throw
3,
in, and he should be dead.
2, 1.
So let's capture these 2 stones to show that we are solidly alive here. And I believe 7 in a row shouldn't live, especially since it should be my move first.
9, 8, 7.
Ah, okay. Just playing the end game move here. I believe this gets rid of all of the Aji that he had in the corner. I can probably show you what that was. So he's trying to threaten me a little bit and threaten to get this Hane. So I kind of want to get this Atari. Okay. Just block it all. Just connect, should be fine. There's just a reading thing here. There's a very large area. So if I do this one to threaten this eye, he can Hane here, and I could potentially die there.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's see.
Last Byoyomi.
I guess I should try to just answer the monkey jump in a proper way. So if I play here, this would be proper. He pulls back. I do this one. He does this one, right? He might try to do this Atari, in which case I can Atari. And Atari. And that should be fine for me.
8,
So let's just do this one. And block him. So there is a potential eye problem here.
9, 8,
But it's not a big deal because I have this Atari at D19. I can show you that after the game. Now he can just kill me. So I should just answer to make 2 eyes. Just this one. He can make some points here, and it would be pretty big, so I think I will Hane first. Because pushing out through here would be really good for me. Because he does not have 2 eyes yet. He was able to get some good end game moves in. So we have a couple things we can do over on this side, or we can do something over here. I want to keep this captured, so maybe I will play
8,
this end game. And I can push over here. I wonder if there's a clamp or anything if he Hanes. He Atari's here, I Atari here, he connects, I connect. He goes down, I do this one. He Atari's, I go out. It looks like the clamp does work. But we should just potentially extend
9,
here. This helps get rid of the wedge Aji, because I can now capture any stone that cuts through. And we can do this Hane. And the middle is starting to get a little bit bigger. So it might be a good idea to do something in the middle. It looks like I can kind of get it from 2 different directions.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So I think I'm actually going to defend on this side to make sure this middle group here is safe instead. If everything's connected and solid, then I don't have to worry too much. This is a little bit deep. So I'm going to attach here, extend down. And then cut the stone off. There's a common combination. He does have this move, which is a little bit annoying. But with this group alive, I don't have to really worry
6,
about
5, 4,
getting cut off here.
3, 2, 1.
I just need to make sure that this group is connected to the other one. This makes it a little bit easier on me. This doesn't really matter too much. My group is alive here. And I can still connect out if I need to. Now this Atari will connect me and give me some points, so I think I'm going to Atari. I could peep as well. Either one would be fine. I should probably click on my tree too while I'm at it. There we go. So now if he wedges here, if I block on this side, he goes out, I connect, and he can cut, no matter which side I connect. So if I have to block on this side, and so now he's making it so that I have a little bit of weakness
9,
there.
8, 7, 6, 5.
So I don't mind attaching to this stone to protect this cutting point from the wedge. He really, really wants to cut there. So I guess the question is, yeah, can he cut there? Yeah, he probably still can. So I'll just protect it. The point of these moves were to protect my cutting point, so if he tries to Atari here, I don't need to worry about the stone. And I still have a little bit of Aji with if he plays a move over here. But I think it's basically all fine. And I can do this clamp on the left side. I don't have to connect because there's no way for him to capture the stones because this point here is protected. So I can leave this for now. Looks like I can capture this in Sinte, so I might as well capture it. So this area is sort of interesting because the monkey jump can potentially be bad here. But it might also be the biggest point on the board now. If you do this small one and they
9,
capture, then that would be good for you.
7,
The large one,
5.
I don't think it really matters. Do the small one here, I think. Because the point of the monkey jump is to get Sente. So if you played all the way here to T15 and they captured, you'd have to back off. And they can block you without having to worry about their weaknesses here. And you'd still have to protect one more time. This move is getting big. Oh, this move's kind of big too.
9, 8, 7.
I think I'll block off this area, which gives my group a solid 2 eyes. A direct 2 eyes, I guess. He probably didn't need to connect there. A little bit of a small move, but he also protected the weaknesses that I had here in the center, so I don't have to worry about those anymore. Which means I can play something else, whatever it is.
9, 8.
There aren't really that many big end-game points left. Oh, he resigned. Okay. Never mind then. So I made a really big mistake. And it's tempting to just not upload this video, but I think I'm going to leave it in. Because it's easy to make that sort of mistake. I know sometimes it can be hard to stay calm afterwards. So let's look at a couple of the mistakes I think I made in the game. And then we'll look at if my opponent punished them properly and what mistakes they made. I think he actually played fairly well. We should check the score estimate. I'm ahead by 30 points, and I think that's mostly because of what he did on the right side. These stones here, they should never live. This is a very wishful thinking, especially because he left that Atari on the outside. Let's look at the game real quick. Yeah, so I took just the corner territory because I have 6.5 points of Comey. So anything here is probably going to be pretty good for me. It probably doesn't matter too much, but something you can consider doing in order to get a slightly better position on the top here is just to peep right away. So let me open up the analysis board. If you peep right away, then you can actually jump a little bit further because this group is much simpler to escape. But I guess we have to figure out if the ladder works. So I have to play somewhere where there's no influence on the ladder. He pushes and cuts here. It doesn't matter which side he cuts, but we're going to cut here and take this ladder. This is what this one move is threatening. So if we look at it, we just trace it along the board to make it real simple. We can see that it does work. If there was like a 4-4 point in this corner, then the ladder would not be working. So it looks like they can do this peep here. And if you connect, they can now do this one, which makes this like a Kobayashi shape. It's a little bit incomplete with, it feels like you do need an enclosure here or a stone on this side as black, but it's another possibility to play here to try to get a little bit more. And if we just continue here, it looks like black could potentially make a decent amount of points on the top. Even if I play high and we just do a simple attaching one, you can play this knight's move instead to try to map out something here. It's always something to consider whenever your opponent does this kick. There is another move here, which is this Hane, which allows you to do this Hane, which gives you that strength as well. But this one's a lot more complicated. So it's better to just do this peep. It's a lot more simple, and it's not going to be, like there's no significantly better move according to AI or anyone else as far as I can tell. So I think this was all actually okay for black. Maybe this could be a little bit small, but I think playing solid here and taking points is fine, especially because this is a cross game. It's not like I can really attack him too hard. But me being able to get this exchange is actually quite good for my living shape in the center. It means that this group is a lot stronger than it was before. So it was probably a good idea to not let this happen, but it's not that big of a deal. This is okay. So I would say that my opponent's biggest mistake has to definitely be not protecting the center well enough in the game. So if he just extends here, there is still some cutting stuff, but these stones should come in handy. And this is a much more solid shape for black, though. But this move here is sort of fine because it's somewhat sente. But black sort of has a lot of weakness anyway. So really what black should do here is if he's going to continue on with this exchange, he needs to protect one side or the other. The bigger side probably needs to be protected. So another thing he could do is like what he did in the game, which was this move, to try to protect this side. A more active way to do it. But in this case, just peeping, like I showed earlier, is the simpler move. I very likely have to respond in some way, either connect or do this move to prevent the cutting point. And so if I just connect, black jumps out here, and it makes a little bit with this and protects this cutting point a lot. So it makes it more difficult for white to do anything. And if we do something like this and try to capture these 3 stones, that is quite big, but black is going to have a really nice eye shape on the other side. So a more simple way to play. In the game, he wanted to do this one, which does give him a little bit more strength, but what it sacrifices is a large amount of territory. So black tries to prevent me from getting all that territory by playing here, but the group in the center is still very weak and with a lot of shape problems. If you imagine this Atari and this turn, we now have the Hane at the head of 3 stones here, which makes it really difficult for black to protect this area. If black just does something like this, even this simple Hane is kind of hard to deal with, because there's a lot of squeeze potential and Aji here. So you can't even really cut here too easily without white jumping out into this area. Black can probably live here, but we don't want black to have to just live here if we just play the most obvious simple moves in this variation. So black sort of needs to push one more time, which should be Sente. Because if I decide to do something else, like I want to try to cut through and take these 2 stones or something, right? Black can get this double Hane here, because I can't try to capture the outside without sacrificing these 4 stones, which would make black extremely thick across the entire board. And then black can try to play something very, very strong. He may not want to play this directly. He may want to extend down first. But any sort of thing here, in order to keep the outside zone strong, I probably have to keep playing. And there's just a lot to worry about here. So black can push at least one more time here. And I'm going to be answering. And now the middle group is already a lot stronger. I would probably want to protect one more time, but you can reliably do something else now. For example, taking the actual enclosure here instead of trying to go too close. With this enclosure, black is very likely getting some points in this corner and is reducing the potential that I have here. If I just jump down here, I do get a lot of points, but black got something and can play the next really big move, which is approaching my 3-4, which is a very big opening move. So allowing me to get this turn here, which as I showed is a very vital shape point, is very bad for black. And then allowing me to jump out here. This may not be the best move, but allowing me to come out here in general is going to make black very, very, very weak. But we just play some opening moves. And then I threaten black a little bit here and gain some outside strength. As you see, even though I'm not really killing this group, I've gotten so much on the outside, and I threatened to get so much here. There's just it's just very awkward for black overall. If I wanted to be more aggressive, I could try to do some sort of Atari capture and force him to do something here. I'm not really worried about that, right? All I'm worried about is making the strength here to compensate for what he's trying to take away from over here. If I have this strength, that means I can invade in the bottom area. I took this move just to threaten his eyes a little bit. And then this one to strengthen myself and threaten his eyes just a little bit more. I'm not trying to go all out to kill him. I just want to strengthen myself. And then we get to the corner Aji here. It's not good to really play like this if you're not really sure of how to handle these sorts of cuts. Better to just connect. If they then protect here, you can do some sort of common end gamey thing to get a lot of points. And they probably still have to protect, because there's a lot of Aji here. You don't have to do that right away, but there is that option available to you. Now, I wanted to do this one to make it so that I could invade the bottom left more aggressively, or more with more strength on the outside, but it probably didn't really matter too much. But let's look at the Aji that's in the corner, which is probably a mistake that I made here. So after this, if he cuts here, I can probably give it up if I want to. But it would make black very strong in this bottom left to allow him to fight back better and potentially make me weak in the center. So I don't like the idea of just giving it up. So if he cuts here, I have to capture this stone. He cuts here and pushes. Then there's this Atari in the corner. This Atari here. If he extends, there's this one, which makes this ko. If he captures, there's this one to sort of make another ko here. So this Aji may not be right to play right away, but it's something you really have to look out for in the future. So black can probably get a move around here in Zente. Even just the regular cut and kill the stones is good. Or even can be more aggressive and potentially get this one in Zente. Because now it's the same thing, but the ko is a much bigger deal because there's no way for white to escape this area. So this is just something to worry about in the end game. So if you don't want to have these sorts of potential problems, it's always good to just protect your cutting point. But this is something to look for in your own games because it's sort of interesting. It's always good to look for kos. It might be a bit advanced, but I wanted to show you anyway. So I think, yeah, the biggest problem black had was handling this top left group. But then I did make a big mistake here in my reading. For some reason, I thought that this stone was more helpful than it actually was, basically. When I hane here, he cuts and I extend, he can just capture my stones this way. There's nothing here for me, because this stone does not actually help. So that was a mistake on my end. I was reading this way because I thought for some reason this worked. This is a very common ladder misread I've noticed. Common for me to do, common for everybody to do. So in this case, I could just turn here, which is still threatening to try to capture these stones. If he plays this one, I can just capture this stone to sort of link everything up. Or I can extend down if I'm confident in handling this area, which it's easier, like the top left corner, it's easier to just capture. But I've made a mistake, so instead of continuing on to play in this area and making the mistake bigger, well, the second I realized, oh, this was a bad move, this was a mistake, I just need to try to take advantage of it in whatever way I can. So extending up here, if he tries to do something here, then maybe I can get this and this. If he Ataris here, then this ladder no longer works, because I can connect up. And if he just pushes this down, I can connect up underneath here. There's a little bit of Aji when he captures here, but there's also a little bit of Aji on this side to potentially capture these three stones. So it should be fine. But my opponent did what's probably the right type of move, which was to just capture. Doing this sort of capture makes him very strong. So this is something that he did really well, honestly. It's actually kind of difficult for me to do something over here, which is what I mentioned in the game. I felt like maybe h3 was actually a bad invasion to play. And that something in the corner was a little bit better, if you read it out right. So this ended up being slightly bad overall for me. But because I get to be the first one to play here, I can just erase all the points on the bottom here and connect up to my group. I could try to be a little bit more aggressive, but because he has this very strong, thick area, he can try to push and cut me like this. It's a little bit bad shape for black, but because of his strength, it's possible. So it's better to just jump out. After this, black just played some slightly bad moves, but he is trying to protect himself and try to take advantage of potential weakness I have, so I think that's not necessarily a bad idea. He probably didn't need to try to get more influence in the center, because that's what this move is sort of doing. It's trying to get more in the center. He's saying that he can get something here, or he can extend here and get something, or he can do this cross cut, which I just back off, and then he has to try to get something from. Usually it's going to be some sort of influence here. But this influence isn't really doing anything if my group in the center is alive. He has to cut here first in order to try to kill it. So this isn't a big deal for me. And so he shouldn't really be trying for it. He should just be trying to play some end game instead. Or if he wants to protect his center group, just jumping here to expand the eye shape is the better idea. Apart from that, though, the only other mistake that he really made, because I think this was a good trade. Like, I think he actually played lots of really good moves. The only other mistake I really think he made was trying to do something in this corner area. So this is where understanding lots of life and death shapes comes into play, because you don't necessarily even have to read. Now, even if these two stones in the center are not in Atari, I probably still don't have to read this, because it's difficult for him to really gain anything. If he wants to try to live in the corner, he can try to do something like this, but I can throw in, and it just doesn't work, because even if he blocks here, he's not threatening to connect up underneath, because this is an Atari. It's always an Atari in this shape. And so I can push through here. And if he connects on this side, I can capture this stone. If I capture it this way, then there's no way for him to make eyes on this side. If he connects here, then I can just push through. There's no eyes. So he has to try to connect here. But when he connects here, he is threatening to Hane and extend to potentially do something, which would be really good for him. So I could just block this. And like I said in the game, he needs 7 in a row with his move next. And I need to just have Sente to kill it, or to make him only have 6 in a row. When he backs off here, I can just block, it's dead. When he plays here, I can just block, it's dead. It's not really a big deal, even without these stones in the center being captured. Because if he connects up underneath, he doesn't have enough liberties to really do anything. When you realize, or when you have a good understanding of the different life and death shapes and know exactly how many moves they need to live, for example, which is 8. They need 8 in a row to be alive unconditionally, I believe, and 7 in a row and Sente in order to live. So that means I can capture on the outside, and if they connect here, this is only 6 in a row. But he can push here first, threatening to come out. I block, and then he connects, and now it's 7 in a row. But with 7 in a row, that's still dead. I think even at 5Q, this is something that you should definitely learn, because the more confident you get with these common shapes on the side, which is the 6 in a row, 7 in a row, 8 in a row on the second line, or the tiger's mouth in the corner, I don't know if this one has a name specifically, but any of these sorts of shapes, if you understand them, then you can play a lot more confidently, which is very helpful for your game. When you're not worrying as much, you're probably playing better. He also did something that I thought was okay as well on the top left, which was trying to get something else here so you can get something in the corner. This is what I was mentioning in the game. You could potentially be worried about something like this. But there's two ways to answer this. You could give up the stones, but it doesn't work for black. He doesn't have enough liberties. Or you could Atari from this side directly and connect here. Threatening to connect up underneath. And then there's this Aji here. The simplest way, of course, is giving these up. He has to connect back. You get to capture. Everything's fine. Was there a better way for black to try to kill? It seems a little difficult, honestly. It seems like it's possible for black to try to get something like a Seki here. If he does that same thing and pushes in, just a push here, he can try to do some sort of Seki shape here, but it seems a little bit difficult to really kill it. Yeah, it seems difficult to do anything. Just a very wide space. But it was a good attempt to try to get into the game again. I think that was everything. Yeah. I do think my opponent played really well. I did make a bad mistake in the lower left, but I was able to remain calm and just play a simple game from there on and win. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a good day. Have fun.